KCS doesn't follow the traditional knowledge management process, where knowledge is treated as an add-on to the problem-solving process, but rather KCS infuses knowledge into the day-to-day operational activities of the service desk and other service operation functions. Now with KCS, knowledge isn't something you do in addition to solving problems, but rather knowledge becomes the way you solve problems, and the byproduct being the creation and maintenance of knowledge stored in your knowledge base. Many people have asked, where does technology fit into KCS? Now, technology has its place, but it's primarily about people. This is because people are the source of knowledge. KCS has proven that support analysts are the best people to capture and maintain support knowledge, because they are the people who actually use it every day. So I want to stress the point that it's more about people than the technology. Even with the best technical solutions, people can still choose not to capture knowledge. And the opposite is true. I've personally seen KCS work effectively without high quality automated tool sets. You see, it's important to avoid this becoming a technology thing. If the hearts and the minds of your support organisation treat knowledge as their primary asset, they will capture knowledge regardless of how clunky the tool set is. You see, the reuse of knowledge will quickly cancel out any inconvenience or overhead caused due to the lack of automation. This is why process is so important. Defining knowledge objectives, KPIs and metrics, coupled with monitoring and reporting to help govern the knowledge management process, will ensure continual improvement. Now that I've laboured on this point, I want to speak candidly. Technology may not be the major contributor, but I sure have seen it become a major inhibitor. Please be careful with your tool selection, ensuring that you've checked off the people and the process components before you select your tool set. Integration is key. Integrating the components of service management, being the people, process and technology, all work together to create optimal performance. So what are the benefits of KCS? Well, those who have adopted KCS have achieved both quantitative and qualitative benefits. There have been reports of improved resolution times, training times, improved customer and support analyst satisfaction rates. They've seen improved service level achievements and substantial savings in operational costs. So let's have a look at some of the figures that have been reported. Some of the findings have shown that support areas can solve cases or incidents faster. They've recorded up to a 50 to 60% improvement in time to resolution and a 30 to 50% increase in first contact resolution. In the area of resource optimization, they've seen a 70% improvement in staff proficiency times, a 20 to 35% improvement in employee retention, and a 20 to 40% improvement in employee satisfaction. When it comes to the enablement of e-services strategies, they've seen an improvement in the customer success rate and use of self-service. They've reported up to 50% case deflection. This means that 50% of customers' queries and issues are being solved via self-service. These are truly amazing results. Another area of improvement is in building organisational learning. The ability to provide actionable information about customers' issues to product development teams has increased the frequency of planned improvement programs. These have resulted in a 10% reduction of like-for-like issues due to root cause removal. Now, the benefits realised both in the short and the long term have been outlined in a paper written by the consortium called Measurement Matters and can be downloaded from the consortium's website. KCS is the perfect solution for those support organisations who need to extend their capabilities but have limited budget and resources. KCS removes constraints to deliver increased value and efficiency by capitalising on what they already have, and that is knowledge. Now there are 4 phases of adoption for KCS. These 4 phases range from phase 0 to phase 3. Though these are not prescriptive for every organisation, they do provide a helpful outline. Now we will discuss these in greater detail later on in the training course, but for now let's review them at a high level. Phase 0 covers planning and design. This involves building the required tools for successful adoption, gathering baseline measurements, and setting realistic internal and external expectations. The next phase, phase 1, addresses adoption, which seeks to create an internal understanding and excitement through training to build initial competencies. It also seeks to establish an internal referenceability by running a pilot program. Now the pilot areas and their results can become a show pony to help encourage other internal support areas to adopt the KCS framework. Phase 2 covers proficiency, creating and maturing the knowledge base, increasing the efficiency of the KCS process, reducing the time to proficiency, and finally, improving collaboration and analyst satisfaction. Phase 3, the final phase, covers how to leverage the knowledge base. Here, there's a focus on optimising resource utilisation rates, reducing support costs, increasing customer success via self-help, improving employee satisfaction, and finally, improving products and services via effective problem management and continual service improvement programs. KCS requires teamwork and a huge shift in perspective. Knowledge needs to be considered and treated as an asset that is owned and maintained by teams, not individuals. It's about collective knowledge, not just individual customer issues. It's about improving organisational learning, which can require a major transformation for some organisations. This transformation starts with understanding the attributes of knowledge. Though there are many different definitions for knowledge, and all are valid, but we will clarify the meaning of knowledge in the context of data, information and knowledge. What distinguishes data from information? Well, data is just numbers or words, while information is organised numbers or words. The organisation of data into information gives it some meaning. So what distinguishes knowledge from information? Knowledge is information on which I can act. Knowledge has action associated with it. It's a verb. We can do something with it. So the definition the consortium has found helpful is information on which I can act. And this is the definition that we will use throughout this course. KCS seeks to capture the collective experience of the organisation in ways that others can use. Use or act on being the key point. Now agreeing to this definition allows us to identify and pinpoint the attributes of knowledge. Recognising information that I can act on or use depends on experience and the context. That is, I may already know some things that complement the information to make it actionable. So information that is actionable to you may not be actionable to me. You see, we all bring something to the knowledge party. Now this introduces an uncomfortable ambiguity about knowledge. That is, knowledge to me might not be knowledge to you. So in essence, knowledge is not absolute. For example, The long-range weather forecast for an office worker in their state or province may be considered interesting information, but that's all. Now that same weather forecast for a farmer working the land is actionable, and the farmer will use this information to make decisions and take actions to maximise the yield and the quality of his harvest. So what is knowledge to some is only information to others. This means that what we have in our knowledge base is really only potential knowledge, because the usefulness of that information really depends on the context, experience and the need of the person looking at it. Information becomes knowledge in the moment of use. It's no wonder people pause when asked to define knowledge. It's rather quite abstract.